Hey, very good morning in India. Very good morning in America, and good evening in for India. This is Sean Shankaran, General Secretary, Indian Overseas Congress. I am with Sam Pitroda, our beloved chairman, Indian Overseas Congress. So he's here to talk about idea of democracy. Continuing on the same topic, today we may be discussing about more on the independence of institutions like Supreme Court, Election Commission, and a bunch of other institutions who are supposed to be independent to uphold the democracy. Without much ado, I'll hand it over to Sam for introduction. Go ahead, Sam.
Thank you, Sean, and thank you, Priyamvada. I sincerely appreciate what you do every week. Week just goes by so fast nowadays because of all the stuff that's going on in India and in the US. There is never a dull moment. I must tell you that the events that happen in India with the pace which is so very fast, it is hard to keep track of what is happening where. In addition, there is too much noise in the media. Attacks and counterattacks and views and misinformation and truth and all that. So I've been trying to cope with it, but I don't think I'm very good at it. So I appreciate what Shan and Priyambada and others do every week so that we can bring together people with similar interest and ideas on a common platform to have a broader conversation. Last night in the evening, I got for the first time to see this book and hold it in my hand. It arrived with UPS, by UPS. And for the first time, I saw this book, which was supposed to be released yesterday, but now we are going to be releasing on April 6th with Kapil Sibal in conversation. Democracy is under attack, in difficulty all over. We have seen more of that in the last few weeks in the US. And more I see as to what is going on in India, I'm convinced that a lot of it has to do with, one, the leadership, and two, the character and value. What do we value? As human beings, do we really value other human beings? As a human being, do we really understand their point of view? Are we open, or we are just vindictive, mean, manipulative, and are hell-bent to win at any cost, in the process, hurting people, at times killing people? You see what is going on in Gaza and Ukraine. And I think human nature really dictates a lot of that goes on at global level as well as at national level. People lie, people fabricate all kinds of events and try to create an image which is very different from the reality. And I think it has a lot to do with the character of the people. I spent full chapters on this in the book. One chapter on the values in democracy, and second chapter on the leadership. But ultimately, common people are concerned about their livelihood, especially people at the bottom of the economic pyramid. Do they have jobs? Can they survive growing inflation? Do they have enough savings for rainy days? Is there security, safety? So, on one hand, you have economic challenges, and on the other hand, you have challenges related to running a system, democracy with values and leadership and all that. So, in India right now, because elections are very close, in the next 3, 4 weeks, the process will begin, and in 8 weeks, the process will be basically over. And we'll expect results on June 4th. So the attention is mainly on elections. And everyone is putting their view across. I see a lot of these YouTubers who are a little more open and transparent and willing to speak compared to the national TV channels who basically promote looks like one-sided view. Interestingly enough, I saw the conversation between Bill Gates and Indian Prime Minister Mr. Modi. I was amused. I was very amused at both of them, with all the respect to both of them. On one hand, Prime Minister talked about his side of the story more as a promotional story, saying we did this and I did this and I did that, as opposed to really saying this is what people of India got done. Our young talent, our technical expertise. And this has been going on for decades. And now we are at a point, tipping point basically, to take advantage of all of the technology that we have built in the last 40, 50 years, including human resource. And the way Bill Gates also talked about. I was amused. I don't know if any one of you have seen it, but that's my personal view. I thought it was very strange. Okay. But that is being promoted on national TV in a big way. An average person doesn't really understand the purpose, the message, and the real facts. So this is what is going on right now. So with this background, we can open up for a broader conversation again. I'm sure you all have different things on mind. You experience things differently from your perspective, from where you are and what you see. And I would like to learn from you as well as to what you think is going on and what you think would happen. I don't have a crystal ball at this point in time. I don't know how things will shape up, but we'll see. So again, thanks, Son, and thank Priyamvada. Let's open up for question, answers, and comments. Sean?
Yeah. Yes, Sam. Give me 1 minute. I'll just put you on stage.
No problem.
Yeah. Hope we are ready. So I think without much ado, I'll start with this recent bullying of Prime Minister, bullying of Supreme Court by the Prime Minister. What are your thoughts? I think Congress Party President Mallikarjuna Kharge has made a statement. What are your thoughts? Supreme Court finally getting a lot of spine. They started giving very bold judgments about electoral bonds and stuff. Now, I personally see he, so entire Supreme Court and the judicial system is being bullied by the Prime Minister, which is very odd. What are your thoughts on?
No, I don't agree on bullying Supreme Court in any way or form. In our constitution, it is clearly said and well respected that it's an independent institute, third arm of the democracy. Now, with information, we could say information is the fourth arm. But Supreme Court has to do what they have to do. And I'm delighted that they have taken right stand, not because it's against government or for government, but because they think what is right to do is important. And I admire their courage. And I support Supreme Court in their decision, whatever their decision they make, because at the end of the day, they are serving people and not a political party. They are there for checks and balances and not to promote one agenda or the other agenda. And history is full of these events all over the world where Supreme Court had to stand up at some point in time to guide the nation. And I believe this is the time for Supreme Court to stand up and guide the nation and make sure that we select the right path, which will be in tune with our constitution, need of the hour, need of the people, and all the people, and not one group of people or the other. So I admire, whenever anyone takes a courageous decision, and it requires courage. Okay, Gandhiji always talked about courage, and we underestimate the importance of courage. Many times people buckle up and don't have courage to stand up. You know, they are afraid of personal attacks, they are afraid of future career, they are afraid of implications on their own personal gains and losses. Um, so I think I'm all for what Kharge said. Again, not because I'm from Congress party, but because I believe in the principle of independence of the Supreme Court, period.
Awesome, sir. Arvind Mohata from LinkedIn is asking, what are your thoughts about India growing next 10 to 20 years with the use of current democracy in terms of capitalism?
It depends on what kind of strategies we use for economic development. I am convinced that the bottom up approach is the answer and not top down. The present idea of capitalism, as it is being practiced all over the world, is based on top down, that there will be trickle down effect, and it hasn't happened. As a result, inequality has increased, income inequality, wealth is highly concentrated, and unless and until we really completely decentralize the economy, where we begin to produce stuff locally, create local jobs, focus on agriculture, food, housing, infrastructure, energy, and not really emphasize big industries, few big, super rich to build a nation, we will not be able to create jobs. So next 10, 20 years, we first need to focus on democracy, not just for 20 years, but for the long-term vision of the country, where everyone is empowered. and not just a group of people empowered and others are treated like second-class citizens. Two, with democracy, rule of law, independent institutions, role of civil society, scientific, logical mindset, we need to create new economy. And this new economy has to be based on decentralization. If there is one decision that I have to make today, after putting democracy in place, I would just focus on decentralizing implementation at district level. I'll make every district independent institution, community of 2 million people. So they need to worry about their education, health, water, energy, infrastructure, roads. 2 million people is good enough minimum critical mass. There are many countries, many below 2 million population. So they should be allowed to operate independently as a district. They should be allowed to collect their own revenues. And then they can give revenues to state for the services state provide. States can give revenue to center for the services center provide. You got to flip it. Today it is center collects all the revenue. And center decides how much states get and how much districts get. It's not going to be easy. But that is real decentralization. In Rajiv Gandhi's time, Rajiv Gandhi and Manishankar Iyer and others focused on this great idea, a great initiative on Panchayat Raj. We have not been able to execute well on it. But that's what you need. You need Panchayat Raj to decentralize things. But Panchayat is a very small unit. You don't have minimum critical mass at Panchayat, but you have minimum critical mass at district level. So that's what I would propose. Thank you.
I think Sunil Sardar from Facebook is saying, bottom up is the way, crony capitalism without compassion and full of self-interest. I think many of the assurances of Congress also is empathizing. Do you want to touch upon few?
Say it again, Sean, I missed it.
Uh, okay, I think bottom up is the way, crony capitalism without compassion and full of self-interest. Sunil Sardar is just passing a
Yeah,
commentary.
agree, Sunil. Um, you you see, Gandhiji talked about trusteeship. That idea didn't get kind of attention it deserves. But even today, in many parts of the world, cooperatives, which is sort of a trusteeship related idea, cooperatives are very successful. Our milk cooperative is an example. In America, there are many cooperatives. People don't even know. There are cooperatives on orange growing. There are cooperatives on many parts of the agricultural sector. Cooperatives are important. Okay, so we need to really change the organizational architecture as well, where everything is not about bottom line and IRR and return on investments and all that. Of course, business has to be financially viable, successful, rewarding, but it can't be successful and rewarding for a small group of people, shareholders. It has to be successful and rewarding for the stakeholders. And stakeholders include employees, stakeholders include suppliers, community, all kinds of people. And it requires broader vision. Now, today what happens is all the profit is sucked by a small group of people, especially the owner. And owners have too much part of the profit, and people are left with meager salaries. And they spend their life working for this owner. And at the end of their retirement or their work, they have very little to show. Okay. So that is the concern. And the bottom up approach makes many more people active participant, active owner in the process.
I think many of the assurances of Congress, I think, is also empathizing what you said. I'll go to the next question. Kunchala Anil Kumar. Do you think there should be thorough investigation and donations by companies through electoral bonds to political parties, as there are prima facie quid pro between parties and these companies?
I think so. I think that is going on, and civil society will focus on it. There are enough smart people in India who would raise questions. I have great faith in the Indian intelligence, and they are already questioning it. Okay. Um, there is evidence of quid for quo, and there is very clear that there is some connection between who paid, why did they pay, when did they pay. Okay. So I believe there will be a lot of investigation, but it will take time. Okay. And the key
Sure.
issue right now is what impact it would have on the coming election.
I think there is a lot of activism going on with respect to electoral bonds. People are last mile are finally coming to know about that world's largest corruption. Even finance minister's own life partner, husband, Parkala Prabhakar, mentioned about this as one of the largest scam of the century across the world. I think if he's talking about it, I think certainly it means something. So, hope I think
But
Indian
at the
people.
end of the day, Sean, all these issues, whether it is, you know, putting Kejriwal in jail or freezing Congress party's accounts or exposing electoral bonds, all of these issues ultimately lead to one question to me. And that is, can I trust this government? How would I vote in 2024? What I am voting for? How valuable is my vote? And why should I give it to A versus B? If every Indian thought about this very carefully, very clearly, then India would be on the right path. But if every Indian decides to vote based on social media interactions, based on some debate, based on some guy said something, based on charisma, based on scoring points, okay, lies, misinformation, then I think India will have a problem choosing the right path. Okay. People of India will have to choose the right path. This election is about the future of India and the path we are taking. It is not about who did wrong on election bond or why was Kejriwal put in jail. I mean, that debate doesn't make sense unless it all adds up to a basic understanding of what is right, what is wrong, what is fair, what is unfair, what is proper, what is not proper, what is good versus what is bad. So you got to translate all of these events, integrate properly, and decide what do you stand for. Okay. If you stand for the peace, prosperity, employment, respect for every human being, equality, democracy, justice, then you vote one way. if you stand for autocracy, uh, hating one group of people, creating conflicts, confusion, lies, you stand for somebody else. It is that simple to me. But it is very complicated in the other way, because you get so excited with all this media and tamasha and crowds and misinformation, that you cannot see the future from the fog. There's too much fog created in front of you so that you can't see it further. And I see a lot of this stuff in the media more as fog. I get call every day saying you should do this, we should do that, we should respond to that guy, this guy, and it's creating some more fog. I want to clear the fog so you can see through as far as you can. And the media is throwing fog on the way, so it blocks your vision. That's how I see it.
Sure, Sam. I think we have got one of your old colleagues, Chandrasekhar Rao
Yes,
Ganiyat.
I know. Yes, yes.
CS has worked under you, under CDOT and CSAM. So I'm extremely concerned about fake news. This has become very easy with the help of Chat GPT and AI. Fake images, fake video, fake narration can be put together easily by persons. The common man may not have the ability to separate the signal from the noise.
I agree with you, CS. It is a big challenge, not just in India, but all over the world. Okay. I mean, social media has really created a monster of misinformation. So ultimately, like a friend of mine said, everyone will have to find their own Satya. Everybody will have to find saying, this is my truth. Okay. What does truth mean to me? Am I not capable of finding my own truth? If not, then I got to go to somebody who is better at finding truth and say, okay, I have a confidence in Shan or Priyambada, and they are good at finding truth. So I'll follow them. The ideal thing is to find your own truth. Okay? You are capable. You know what is right, what is wrong. You know what you believe in and what you don't believe in. And if you believe in respecting other human being, you can sort one thing out, saying anybody who is downgrading people, criticizing people, harassing people, not giving them fair treatment is not for me. So you got to come up with your own ways of measuring truth also. Okay. And there will be a lot of stuff that will go on. Okay. Let's say there is a AI video which takes my voice and dubs it and says something. You have to ask yourself, saying, Sam, with his background of so many years, would he ever say that? Why would he say that? And if he said that, do I look at his 50 years of track record, or I just look at this one particular sentence and make judgment on him? See, these are the kind of things we will have to do, unfortunately. That's what information age is all about, because information is democratized.
I have one comment from our other side of the camp. If you are okay, I will just post it. Sam.
Everything is fine.
Okay. So I think the comment is judiciary is completely independent today than Indira Gandhi's time. Okay. I think the same
Possible.
person.
It's possible. It's okay. I find it's not Indira Gandhi time, but I think it is Indira Gandhi's emergency time. Okay, possible. I agree that maybe during emergency it wasn't. But don't take that as an event and justify it. Okay, that's where the problem is. Just because it happened then doesn't give you right to say it is the right. Indira Gandhi also made mistakes. A lot of people made mistakes. That's okay. I make mistakes too. But you can't just quote that to justify what is going on today. every decision has its time. Things change. We are talking about what is going on today. This is very typical of many people who immediately go back and say, but this happened, that Rajiv Gandhi did this, Nehru did this. No, I'm not interested in that. Okay. Maybe they did something wrong. So what? What is on the table is what is happening today. Okay, we are talking about judiciary's independence in light of what is going on today. Maybe in the past there were some problems. It's okay. I wasn't there, or even if I was there, it's not on the table for conversation.
No, I may be differing with you, Sam. I want to just quote the quote from M.G. Devasahayam. He mentioned he was a collector for one of the districts right after emergency when the elections were conducted. There was no single iota of fear like what is prevailing now. Then, despite there was an emergency and there was the democracy
I
was
was
coming.
there. I remember it. In fact, you'll be surprised to know. I shouldn't be going into these details, but I was in the US at that time. And George Fernandez's wife stayed with us in Chicago. Okay. We had friends like Rajini Kothari and all of these people come and visit us. And they were all concerned about what was going on in India. We all rebelled against Mrs. Gandhi's emergency. Okay. Because we believed that that was a wrong thing to do. Okay. But that's history. Let's just look at future. Okay. And I know Devashayam, his views.
Yeah,
Today there is a lot of fear, just too much fear. Okay.
exactly.
And
It's
it's
not
high-handedness. It is high-handedness. You
true.
know,
More than the declared emergency versus undeclared, the bullying of all the independent institutions like the Supreme Court or Election Commission or even judges fearing for their life, there are lawyers of the world. So there are many things, right? I think people have that subliminal fear
journalists,
in the
journalists,
society.
no,
Journalists,
journalists
yeah,
who are supposed to do reporting for the public, independent reporting. And they may have a different view. Some journalists might say, look, I don't like the way, Sam combs his hair. It's okay. They have all the right to say that. That doesn't mean he's against me. Today journalists are also afraid. I talk to many and they say, if I do this, they'll harass me. So I'm not reporting. Okay. So it's a very different atmosphere. Okay.
I'll go to Priyamata. Maybe Priyamata, you have questions from Twitter space.
Yeah, Shan. So Ilyas is asking, how is liberalism related to democracy?
Well, democracy sets the rule of the game. Then your thought in terms of whether you are liberal or you are conservative are within that framework of democracy. Okay. Issue by issue, you may be liberal on one issue and you may be conservative on the another issue sometimes. Look at what is going on in the US about women's rights to birth control. Okay. Now there is a issue on the pill. Okay. And one group of people feel very strong this way and the other group of people feel strong that way. Liberal basically wants more freedom for the people, less government interference. Conservatives want government to decide on many of your personal issues, whether it is abortion or religion or whatever. Okay. And it's a whole spectrum of to the center, to the right, left, extreme left. This is how we have sort of designed it. It doesn't have to be like that. Okay, but just to make sense out of what we debate and discuss, we have said in this spectrum, okay, there is right and there is left. Okay, and people sort of change their opinion. I would say I am, at a personal level, is a liberal. Okay. I want people to decide their destiny. I want them to have freedom and freedom to move, freedom to work, freedom to decide on their own health, and freedom to make their own choices. Okay. Now, somebody might come and say, look, that's too much freedom. I want to decide what they eat, okay, what they practice as a religion, okay, what they preach, what they study. So this debate goes on.
So there's another question from Mr. Ashok. Can you unmute and ask your question? Ashok ji? Yeah.
मैम नमस्कार।
नमस्कार अशोक जी।
जी कैसे हैं साहब?
बस क्लास, बताइए आप कैसे हैं?
जी कृपा है, सब अच्छे हैं साहब।
कहाँ पे हैं आप?
जी आगरा, उत्तर प्रदेश।
ठीक है, बताइए।
जी एक्चुअली में ऐसा है कि हमारी पहले भी बात हो चुकी है सर आपसे
जी।
और सपोज एक छोटी सी टॉर्च है मेरे हाथ में और करोड़ों लोग रास्ता देखना चाहते हैं, अंधेरा चारों तरफ है, तो मैं एक टॉर्च से किन किन को रास्ता दिखा सकता हूँ। लेकिन अगर आला कमान के हाथ में वो टॉर्च हो तो वो इंडिकेट कर सकते हैं कि रास्ता इधर से है, तो सब लोग वहां से आप निकल सकते हैं, हम सब लोग।
लेकिन आप ये मानते हैं कि आला कमान का और हाई कमान के पास बड़ी टॉर्च है?
नहीं सर, मेरा कहने का अर्थ आप गलत समझ रहे हैं। मेरे हाथ में एक छोटी सी टॉर्च है। मेरे हाथ में एक छोटी सी टॉर्च है और मैं करोड़ों लोगों को अपने स्तर पर रास्ता नहीं दिखा सकता, क्योंकि मैं उनके पैरेलल चल रहा हूँ, बराबर में चल रहा हूँ। लेकिन आला कमान ऊंचाई पर है, उनको देख सुन सब लोग सकते हैं, करोड़ों लोग। तो उनके हाथ में अगर वही वाली टॉर्च होगी तो वो सबको रास्ता दिखा सकते हैं, इंडिकेट करके कि इधर से रास्ता है, इधर से आप निकलिए।
सच
तो
है?
वो मैं कहना चाह रहा था सर।
सच है आपकी बात?
आपका सवाल क्या है? सॉरी, आपका सवाल पूछिए।
जी एक्चुअल में ऐसा है कि जो दौर से हम अभी आप लोग गुजर रहे हैं, वो 2014 से पहले सोचने की बात थी सर।
वो तो हो गया ना भैया, वो हो गया, अब तो वो हो गया, अब क्या करें?
बिल्कुल हो गया, और जो चीज हो गई है, लेकिन आगे अब जो करना है सर, वो रामबाण के लिए कह रहा हूं मैं। अगर रामबाण प्रयोग करें तो सब कुछ हासिल है सर।
बताइए क्या है रामबाण आपकी तरफ से?
पूरा पब्लिक अगर ये कहे कि ये चीज नहीं होना है तो डेफिनेटली सभी को माननी पड़ेगी सर। सुप्रीम कोर्ट हो, हाई कोर्ट हो, सरकार हो, प्रशासन हो, शासन हो, सभी को मानना पड़ेगा। आम पब्लिक की बात जो है,
अभी सब डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन जी ठीक है, आपकी बात मैं समझता हूं और आई रिस्पेक्ट दैट, लेकिन अभी जो डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन चल रहे हैं देश में,
जी
किसान की मूवमेंट हो
जी
कि ईवीएम की मूवमेंट हो
जी
और कांग्रेस की मूवमेंट हो और आपकी मूवमेंट हो,
जी सर,
सब लोग स्ट्रीट पे आ पड़े हैं। सब लोग कह रहे हैं कि अन्याय हो रहा है और लोगों को सोचना पड़ेगा, समझे?
जी जी
मुद्दा तो एक ही है। अभी हाईकमांड भी ये कहते हैं, प्रजा भी यही कहती है कि हमें हमारी डेमोक्रेसी वापस चाहिए। मुद्दा यही है कि हमें
हमारी डेमोक्रेसी अंग्रेज तक नहीं रोक पाए थे। गांधी जी ने उनसे बिना लड़े वापस ले ली थी। तो अभी तो ऐसा कोई शासन स्टिक भी नहीं है सर।
सच बात है, उस वक्त एनिमी
गांधी जी का रूल एक भी हम फॉलो कर लेंगे तो कुछ भी असंभव नहीं है सर।
सच है, मैं आपके साथ हूं।
जी थैंक यू सर।
थैंक यू।
Thank you, Ashok ji. Sir, my question, continuing that with the Congress accounts, bank accounts being frozen, and with tax notices sent and all, how is this going to be a free and a fair election when the main opposition party is not able to, utilize their funds for election campaigning and everything? So it's not going to be a free play, isn't it? So how are we going to tackle this? How are we going to overcome this challenge?
It is not a fair and free election already, as it is. Media is not free and fair. I believe Election Commission, and I've said it and I'm saying it again and again, is not free and fair because they have not heard anything about EVM. And EVM has nothing to do with, tampering or not tampering. It has to do with, are you giving me confidence that the vote I'm casting is the vote you are counting? So don't confuse the issue with EVM is great and it's working technologically. No, I'm not interested in listening to all that. Just give me a receipt in my hand and let me put it in a dabba which is not connected to electronics. Then I'm convinced that the vote I'm casting is the vote you will count, and count everything in the dabba, not 2%, 1%, 5% statistical. No, I'm not willing to accept that. Okay. So with that kind of high-handedness, it is not free and fair election. Okay. You've frozen account of the opposition party. You could have done it after 4 months. You could have done it a year ago. Okay, fine. Legally, you can say you are right and your IT is independent and IT does whatever they want to do. You are perfectly right in saying all that. But there is some ethical dimension to it. Okay. An ethical dimension says this is not how you harass opposition party. Finish. Okay. Legally, you are absolutely right. What you are doing is okay. I understand. You have right to do it. Okay. IT may be right. But what is so important for IT right now? To freeze the account. Okay. They should have at least some generosity saying, look, elections are going on. How are these people going to fight election? Okay. Am I working for the BJP party or am I working for the nation? I want nation to have free and fair elections. Okay. That's the decision you can make if you are morally committed to democracy. If you're not, then you make other decisions. Okay. Which is fine.
So, but then how are we going to overcome this challenge? Like,
people of India will have to fund the coming elections, at a local level. The accounts are frozen at the central level, but the local accounts are not frozen. Each state has their own bank account. So people will have to fund state level elections and MPs, because ultimately all the election is fought at the local level. Okay.
yeah.
So people who are willing to donate money will have to donate money to, Karnataka and other places, Telangana and, wherever, Chhattisgarh or whatever, and fund the candidate. Ultimately, candidate needs money to travel, organize events, promote, create social media group. That's where the money is going. Okay. So I request people to be generous in funding local initiatives.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. From YouTube, Vidushi Shukla is asking, India seems to be divided. Farmers' issues are not visible to businessmen. Women's issues are not visible to the society, etc. This divide is going in favor of the current government. It's kind of a commentary. Your thoughts on?
Well, that is how the media is projecting this divide. Okay. Media is managed to a point. Farmers' issues remain with farmers. But farmers' issues are not farmers' issue. Farmers' issues are national issues. If farmer doesn't produce, we can't eat. So it is not farmers' issue. It is an issue of the country. It is about food security. It is about their income. It's about our ability to eat tomorrow. Same with women's issue. Half of the population is women. They are our sisters and daughters and cousins and nephews and aunts and aunties and mothers. Okay, so it is everybody's issue. How could women's issue not be my issue? Okay, because I have family. And it's a family issue. So somebody may want to divide, but you have to understand yourself that these issues affect everybody in the country. Okay. And it should be everybody's concern. Yeah.
Kunchala Anil Kumar from Facebook has provided a long commentary. The current scenario in India is revolving around one thing, that the Hindus in India are at danger. Hindus been at disadvantage, and from this last 75 years, Indian culture is diluted strategically to lower Hindus by British and liberal governments. And now, how many of the youth thinking of that Modi savior of Hinduism sent by God? All other political parties are in the appeasement of minorities, specifically by Congress, and the Congress do not condemn the practices of other religion. I think Kunchala is from the other camp. Do you want to provide?
Okay, Anil, let me tell you my view. Okay. I don't think we should feel inferior as Hindu. I don't think we should feel that we have been taken advantage of. Look, our temples have survived thousands of years of invasion. Hindu population in India, in spite of the fact that Mughals came, Arabs came, British, Dutch, French, Portuguese, they all came and gone. Indian culture remained strong, vibrant. Temples have remained the symbol of the civilization. So to say that Indian culture was attacked, India was attacked. True. But that India changed in the process. New people came, people from Iran came and brought us Parsis. It's okay. India changed, Parsis change. Okay. That is the process of human civilization. Okay. Before Hindus came, what was India? It was all sort of, people coming from Africa and settling there. So where do you draw a line? Yeah. You can't say that Hindus were attacked. You can say that, tribals in India were attacked and Hindus came and, took over. That's another angle. So I won't say that Hindus have been taken advantage of. I won't be party to a debate which says everybody suppressed us. No, that's not true. Okay. The point is, India is a land of sort of very long history and civilization, where everybody came in and survived. So people became Muslims, great. People became Christians, people became Jews, people, came from all over the world. It is a home for everybody. That is the beauty of India. Because India is still predominantly Hindu. So how can you say, if your statement was true, India won't be a predominantly Hindu today? Okay. You see what has been happening in Africa. Many countries are no longer, what they were. Okay. So we should take great pride in what we are. We should be generous enough to say India is a country where everyone can live. And as a majority, it is my job to protect minority. So it is not pleasing anybody. I always say that if there was a handicapped person in my family, I would make sure that that person gets more attention than everybody else. That doesn't mean I'm pleasing handicap, because that's my duty. So as a majority, it is my duty to take care of minority. Don't read that as pleasing somebody. So it all depends on how you think. Okay. Just be generous and you will see the picture. Okay.
I can tell right away, Sam, right wing is very crooked in twisting your statement. Tomorrow they will twist the statement saying that Sam Pitroda is saying minorities are handicapped.
Yeah, that's all right. That's okay. I'm saying that perfectly all right. I'm just giving an example. They have,
Yeah.
they are
No,
entitled. They are entitled to do whatever they want to do. That's not my issue. My issue is I'm just expressing my, thoughts, and I may make mistake. I'm okay with making a mistake. I'm not perfect. I'm not a man with all the wisdom. I'm just a human being, and I can make mistakes, and I can correct myself, and I can apologize. Okay, if I made a mistake. But my idea is not to hurt anybody. My idea is not to, divide people. My idea is not to insult. Okay, because that's my nature. Okay, I want to respect everybody. Okay, I want to express my view. In the process, you misunderstand, we can have a conversation. Okay, but don't run away with one sentence out of context. And they've done that in the past. So it doesn't bother me. I'm okay.
so coming back to one of our favorite topic, Sam, which is EVM. I think there is somebody, Naveen Kumar from Twitter, is saying, I think EVM hatao, Lokchandra bachao. What are your thoughts? Where is the EVM topic heading? I think
I have
this is
said
not
it time and time again, and I'm saying it once more, that EVM is an issue for me. EVM is an issue only because I'm not convinced that the vote I'm casting is the vote being counted. To convince me and others, you got to give me a paper receipt in my hand and not show me on a flashing screen for 7 seconds. And don't drop it on my behalf electronically. I don't trust that. Give it to me and let me drop in a separate box which is electronically not connected. Then you will have my trust. Until then, you have no trust from me. Yeah. Now you can argue, you can debate, but the bottom line is you have lost my trust.
Thank you, Sam. I think there's a commentary from Ranjan on if mainstream media is biased, why opposition reach out to the Varshish Patrika's YouTube channel who has millions of subscribers to pass the message to public?
I think they do. Okay, there is not an issue. There are lots of people who reach out to, YouTubers, and YouTubers do a good job. Some are more vocal, others are less. And everyone is trying to do their best, and many of us feel that that's not good enough. Probably that is true also, but there is limitations to what we can do. In a country of 1.5 billion people, if you reach out to a million, it doesn't mean anything, but it's important.
Okay. I'll let Virender ask any question. Virender, you have any question for Hindi speaking audience? You are on mute. Maybe you can unmute yourself and ask.
Hello,
Virender,
Virendra, we can't hear you.
Yeah, you are on mute, Virender. Okay, give me a minute. I'll unmute. Are you able to unmute yourself? Sorry, we.
Okay, let's move on and we can
Okay.
fix that.
Yeah. So, are there any questions you have got, Priyamata? Summarizing questions? We are at the
There
end of.
was Saurabh, but I think he just left, so I didn't catch his question.
Okay.
But sir, then my
There is
question
Yeah.
is, yeah, okay, you can go ahead.
There's Bhupendra Sharma who says, do you
Yeah.
think number of
Number of
judgments?
judges, I can read it for you.
Okay.
Do you think the number of judgments of many courts, including SC, are against spirit of democracy and favor BJP? Will in Congress regime all are considered again? I think
I don't think it is that kind of an issue, okay, that Congress will reconsider again and all, because Supreme Court is independent. All we can do is make sure that they remain independent, and leave it to them. Okay, don't interfere.
Go ahead, Premata. You can ask.
Yeah, so there's question from Mukesh. Mukesh ji, can आप सवाल पूछे?
हेलो, बोलिए मैडम.
हाँ जी, बोलिए, we can hear you.
बोलिए सर जी आप.
नहीं, आपने स्पीकर के लिए रिक्वेस्ट किया, तो आपका सवाल है तो आप पूछ सकते हैं सर से.
क्या पूछूं? सामने क्या बोले?
ठीक है, तो सवाल नहीं है तो ठीक है. अच्छा, I'm glad you are there.
क्या पूछूं उनको?
Okay.
No, it's
Thank
fine.
you, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, cool. I think I'm seeing. Okay, Virender again. I'll try to add Virender now. Virender, now you are on the stage. You can ask the question. Virender. हिंदी में पूछना वीरेंद्र. Go ahead.
ओके, नमस्कार सैम सर.
नमस्कार विरोध जी.
या लोकतंत्र एक जीवन का उद्देश्य है हर नागरिक का, और आज भारत में लोकतंत्र बिल्कुल खत्म होता जा रहा है. जिस प्रकार से अब पहले कांग्रेस पार्टी पर 14 लाख के मामले में 135 करोड़ और आज 1300 करोड़ के करीब की रिकवरी निकाल दी गई है. कांग्रेस के साथ साथ दूसरी पार्टियों पर भी ये रिकवरी निकाल दी गई है. क्या जो आज संसार में भी बात उठ रही है लेवल प्लेइंग फील्ड, क्या आपको नहीं लगता कि लोकतंत्र में लेवल प्लेइंग फील्ड नहीं होगी तो क्या लोकतंत्र जिंदा रह पाएगा? आपकी बुक भी इस पर है, और आज सब युवाओं को आप क्या मैसेज देना चाहते हैं?
देखिए, तो बड़ी सीधी बात है कि इलेक्शन के वक्त आप अगर कोई पार्टी के अकाउंट्स बंद कर दें जस्ट 2 वीक पहले, तो उसकी असर तो होगी ही. आप दिल्ली के चीफ मिनिस्टर को जेल में डाल दीजिए, उसकी भी असर होगी. सच और झूठ क्या है हमें पता नहीं, वो कोर्ट डिसाइड करेगी लॉन्ग टर्म में, and I leave that to the courts. But the fact that it has been brought on these people now is a concern of many people, or concern for many people, because the timing looks like vindictive. Okay. And young people of India will have to look at, during this election, the direction they want India to take. Do they want government to be vindictive or generous? Do they want government to interfere in institutions, or government they will trust and make sure that government keeps institutions independent? Do they want government that believes in dividing people or uniting people? Do they want government that believes in top-down economic approach, where few industries are very rich and everybody else can't even find a job? Or they want a government that will really focus on job creation at the cost of perhaps some of the rich industrialists by decentralizing it. Do they want government that will improve safety and security of women, or create environment where there will be fire on the street because of two communities fighting with each other? Yeah. So these are bigger issues, and these are very fundamental issues. Yeah. So young people will have to decide what is that they want. Do they want jobs? You know that jobs have not been created. I mean, look at the fundamental promises that government made. Creating 20 million new jobs every year. 0 new jobs have been created. That itself is a big, big reason for young people to decide how to vote. All the black money would be brought back. Nothing happened. Demonetization will fix this. Created complications. GST will improve small business. Is kill the small business. So you can go through 8-10 major items. I mean, look at the way China has occupied, I'm told, 4,000 square kilometer. That's a lot of land. Okay. No one is talking about. I don't know the exact fact. I have not gone and seen and measured. Okay. But I'm believing that the data published is right. If it is not right, we can fix that. But the fact still remains that China has occupied Indian territory. And no one talks about it. Okay. Do you want a prime minister who takes credit for everything and spends crores and crores on personal publicity? Do you want a prime minister who never had a press conference in 10 years? Or you want a prime minister who interacts with people? So these are all the issues I would ask. Okay. It is for young people to decide which of these issues are important to them. To me, all of these issues are very important before I vote. But ultimate decision has to be yours. You have to be comfortable. You have to decide as a young person what kind of India you want to build. If you want to build India of danga fasad, your choice is very clear. Yeah. If you want to build India of no jobs, your choice is very clear. Okay. So you take a pick.
सैम सर, आप हिंदुस्तान में आज संचार क्रांति की वजह से आप और मैं हिंदुस्तान और अमेरिका में बैठ के बात कर पा रहे हैं। भारत में आपको उसका जनक माना जाता है। आपको नहीं लगता अगर दंगा फसाद और ये सब होगा तो हिंदुस्तान में आने वाली जो जॉब अब नहीं है वो बिल्कुल नहीं रहेगी?
देखिए, बिकॉज ऑफ AI बहुत सारी चीजें बदल रही है, बहुत सारी चीजें बदल रही है। लास्ट वीक एक शिकागो में मीटिंग थी जिसमें हम 7 लोग 6 घंटे मिले कि AI की एजुकेशन पर क्या इफेक्ट होगी। ये बड़े बड़े एजुकेशन एक्सपर्ट्स थे। तो उससे पता चला कि एक डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन किसी ने हमें दिया जिसमें आप लिखिए कि क्या चाहिए और ये AI प्रोग्राम आपको सॉफ्टवेयर लिख के देगा। उसका मतलब क्या होगा कि हमारे जो ये सॉफ्टवेयर जॉब्स हैं, कोडिंग बोर्डिंग, सब खत्म हो जाएगा। आज नहीं, कल नहीं, 5 साल में।
बिल्कुल।
सो कोडिंग जो स्कूल में पढ़ाया जाता है उसका अब कोई मतलब नहीं है। सो हमें तैयार करना है लोगों को नई दुनिया के लिए। नई दुनिया के लिए तैयार करना हो तो आपको बहुत आगे सोचना है कि AI से कौन से जॉब क्रिएट होंगे और कौन से जॉब चले जाएंगे, कौन सोच रहा है ये अभी? Okay. So we have to really think of the future in a very different way. But the fundamental issue for the future is democracy. So I come back to the main issue, and that is the idea of democracy. कि भाई क्या होने वाला है हमारी डेमोक्रेसी को? अगर डेमोक्रेसी को नहीं बचा सके तो ये सब चीजों का कोई मतलब नहीं. ठीक है?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sam, sir.
Sir, before you leave, so one question is there, sorry,
Hello.
from Rajendran. Rajendran, can you unmute and ask your question?
Thank you.
Hello, Sam, sir.
हाँ जी राजेंद्रन बोलिए.
I'm also in the US. So I usually ask about EM. I'll not ask that, but I ask question on AI. That's a buzzword. So AI, I know you're technically, very savvy, advanced. So in future, when AI is become AGI, artificial general intelligence, where they are able to set own goals, do you think that they can participate in democracy? Like, for example, I know they will not have caste, creed, unlike humans, caste, creed, and religion, but they might at some point of time have their own conscience, right? Or AGI, that's what I call. They will participate in democracy, and do you have vision for on those things? I mean, at this point of time, it look like dumb question, but just wanted to ask you.
Well, it's a very simple question. Would AI be allowed to vote? No. Only people are allowed to vote. Okay, AI will not be given a citizen card, voting card. If AI is given a voting card, I would worry. Then how many people will give birth to AI? I may have 20 AI children. Okay, I'll generate 5 million AI children. Okay, would you give 5 million children of mine right to vote? So I don't think AI can replace human beings. AI can replace some of the work human beings do, filling forms, organizing court papers, analyzing data, preparing graphs and charts. So main issue with AI today is that all of the jobs that we eliminated using automation for the blue collar, now same thing will happen to the white collar jobs through AI. So automation replaced blue collar jobs. AI is going to replace white collar jobs. That's simple. But it's not going to replace people. So don't worry about AI voting. AI will tell you, help you in voting. Okay. But
thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sam. So I will just go for a couple of questions, Sam, and then I want to do a plug on the book. What you have written.
Hold on, there is another from Anil Kumar.
Yeah. What's your stand on including Ladakh in 6th schedule? Do you agree BJP failed on its promise to Ladakh people?
I don't really know enough, Anil, to comment on it. Okay, I wish I knew a little more. Okay. Go ahead.
Sure. I think the next question is from Ranjan. What moral US have to point finger at India's democracy when US has history of Hillary blamed Trump saying election was rigged, Trump complained about illegal votes against Biden. So I think this is coming more from the US.
That's okay. That's all right. No. The point is, it has nothing to do with US or India. Democracy is democracy. It's a global issue. And I don't agree with this idea that if you're in US, you can't comment on India. If you're in India, you can't comment on Russia. That's all parochial view. This is a global village. I comment on EU. I comment on Africa. I don't need anybody's permission to comment on something. It is up to you to take this comment seriously or not seriously. That's your privilege. But you can't say that if you live in US, you can't comment on India. Or if you live in India, you can't comment on Russia. Okay, that's a pretty parochial, narrow view of the world. We are global citizens. What happens in India affects the whole world. What happens in Israel is affecting the whole world. What is happening in Ukraine is affecting the whole world. Okay. If there is a problem with coffee in Rwanda, it affects the whole world of coffee supply. Okay. So we are living in an interconnected, interdependent, interwoven, networked society. We cannot separate our problems. Our problems are all connected. And I strongly believe that we all should worry about global issues. Global environment is a very classical example, global warming. Okay. I mean, Brazilian jungles. Okay. Amazon jungles, whose property is that? What happens in Amazon affects the whole humanity. Okay. So it depends on how you look at it.
Sam, I just want to do a 2-minute plug on the book and then want to summarize the show. Is that okay?
Sure.
I am going to read out some names just to tell what is the common connecting point of all the names of the places what I'm going to read, in case if you can. India, European Union, United States of America, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Russian Federation, United Kingdom, South Africa, South Korea, Algeria, Ukraine, Ghana, Mozambique, Madagascar, Venezuela, North Korea, Syrian Republic, Taiwan, Mali, Romania, Sri Lanka, Chad, Rwanda, Cambodia, Tunisia, Belgium, South Sudan, Jordan, Azerbaijan, Portugal, Belarus, Togo, Austria, Slovakia, Finland, Mauritius, Panama, Croatia, Georgia, Mongolia, Uruguay, Moldova, Namibia, Guinea-Bissau, Botswana, Comoros, Mauritius, Maldives, Iceland, Palau, San Marino, Tuvalu, 65 countries, 64 plus European Union. 64 plus European Union is going for elections this year. Do you believe this?
That's why 24 is the year of elections. It's a historic year. Okay, because some countries take 4 years for election, some take 5 years. So 2024 is a year that coincides with 5 and 4. Okay. I don't know when it happens again. You can calculate mathematically. Okay. And that's why I think book becomes important. Okay. That's why I wrote this. It is not just for India. Okay. It is for everybody, but people don't read. Nah? That's the problem. Okay. People do not read anymore, but they have opinion about everything.
Sam asked a very important question. Half of the world will vote in 2024. How many elections will be fair? So it's a very, very important question because both the greatest power in the world, the most populous country, the biggest trading bloc like European Union, largest Muslim majority country, Indonesia, largest Spanish-speaking country, Mexico, everybody is voting this year. So we need to figure out
election. Yep. And that's why democracy is of global concern.
Okay. So Sam is publishing this book, Idea of Democracy, on April 6th. There is going to be a release event. There are people from India who will be joining, Kapil Sibal and Barkadats of the world. So hopefully we'll have
we will send more. Sean, Priyamvada, we will send you the link. Okay. Rakesh will make sure you get it. And you just send it to people who want to join.
Yeah, of course.
You're welcome.
Yeah, will do, sir.
So I think the book is already available for pre-order in India. Just go ahead and order. In case if you guys want the book in US and other zones, soon it will be available. Stay tuned and we'll have more events and let us try to see how we can protect and save democracy. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, Sean.
And thank you all who are on the call.
We have 500 people, sir, who have joined live.
That's good. Thank you. You guys do a great job.
Thank you, sir.
Love you all and remain in touch.
Yes, sir. Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rakesh.